Hey folks, I'm Mike. Today is a big day in the world of iOS. It is the first day of WWDC, and today Apple announced iOS 12. Now, there's a lot of new things that they announced, but the thing that struck out the most to me is that Apple introduced a bunch of features that are going to make parenting on an iPhone or an iOS device a lot easier. And here's what I mean by that. Let's say that you, as a parent, want to limit the amount of screen time that your children have. It's a big ask that a lot of parents have on a regular basis, and it's actually a conversation I've been involved in a lot recently. How much screen time does your kids get? Well, Apple is introducing a new feature that tells you a few things about how you use your apps. It tells you how much time you've spent in an app, how many notifications an app has sent you, and it also allows you to set time limits on the amount of time that you spend within a given app. Now, the really cool thing about this is that you can actually set those time limits at the parental controls level, so that you can say, let your kid watch approximately 10 minutes of YouTube Kids a day, and at that point, the iPad or the iPhone that they're on will lock them out and say, you can't watch anymore. Now, this is useful for adults as well, because, how many of us actually spend a lot of time on Instagram and Facebook trying to tell everybody that we are, in fact, doing a lot better than we really are? And I think it's also an overall good feature for teens as well, because there is a lot of research that shows that exposure to things like social media at a young age can be damaging to the overall self-image that a teen has. So that is probably the number one feature that I'm taking away from iOS 12 that is for parents. The next thing is that they've opened up FaceTime so that now you can share a FaceTime conversation with up to 32 other iPhone users. And when they made that statement, the grandparents around the world rejoiced. Because now all of a sudden, all the grandparents can get on the same FaceTime call and not have to pass the phone back and forth. And they can all see each other. It looked like a really neat demo. I really honestly don't know that I would want to be in a conversation with 32 other people on FaceTime, but it is definitely a thing that the grandparents or parents that travel are going to want to use. As well, for teens, it is a pretty big deal because now they can have multiple FaceTime calls with all of their buddies at the same time so that they can talk about their plans in Fortnite. Another big change, and this one was kind of the lead story going into iOS, is that Apple decided to push back a lot of features in order to focus more specifically on performance. Under the hood, iOS is going to run better and is going to be more stable. More importantly, it's going to require less resources. What that means is that your phones and your iPads will probably actually run better and faster once you upgrade to iOS 12. This is also a really big thing because they are not obsoleting any of the current generation of devices that are supported on iOS 11. So if your device currently runs iOS 11 now, it will run iOS 12. And that's a big deal, especially for the hand-me-down phones where, mom got a new iPhone X, an iPhone 10, and she passed on her iPhone 6 to Johnny Boy. Well, Johnny Boy's phone is still going to work. It's still going to be good. And it should actually perform pretty well. If you combine that with the $29 battery upgrades that Apple is giving out for the rest of the year to all of their devices, you can run into a situation where once you replace the battery and once you put iOS 12 on, you've got a phone that is going to perform way better and way faster than it was with a degraded battery in iOS 11. And that's a pretty exciting thing, especially when you consider that we're using our devices for longer and we are also handing our devices down. It's a great thing. Finally, the last thing that is going to make iOS 12 a good fit for parents is the new augmented reality kit that they've added in. So it's called AR Kit 2. There's a standard for objects that a lot of the other companies are going to, that are into AR, augmented reality, are going to take advantage of. In case you don't know, augmented reality is the ability to play like a game or an app and have it incorporate the world through the screen, but then show you things in fixed positions on the screen as well. And probably the coolest demo that I've ever seen was done today when they demoed the new Lego app, and you can build Lego houses and things like that and then destroy them using just holding up your iPad, right? Or holding up your phone. And as you move the camera around, the camera tracks where you are and keeps everything that's in the real world, the augmented world, in the same position. This is going to be great for games. It'll be great for a lot of things, including Apple is building in a new measurement app. So for all of you folks that like to redecorate on a regular basis, you can measure out how big things are and measure out the size of rooms and do all kinds of crazy stuff in order to get precise measurements with just your phone. It's pretty awesome. So there you have it. Those are some pretty big changes that are coming down the pike for iOS 12. It is, there's been a lot of people talking about the performance and things like that. My takeaway from it is that this is actually going to make parenting easier. It is going to make parenting with devices easier, and it is going to allow us as parents and grandparents to keep our kids' screen time maybe a little bit under control. And we might benefit from a little bit of less screen time ourselves. And then also for the tweens and the teens, a lot of these features could potentially bleed into their world as well, as they get the better performance out of the hand-me-down devices. They get neat games with ARKit, and they get FaceTime with up to 32 of their best friends. So anyways, my name's Mike. Thank you for watching. I hope that you really enjoy this, and I will talk to you later. Bye.